People of Reddit who have cheated on a partner, what was your reasoning / cause behind your cheating? I was young, careless, and a shittier person. I wanted to break up with him. He'd always cry, I'd chicken out, and I handled the situation poorly. At least you admit you were a piece of shit. I've been cheated on, and it is one of the worst feelings out there. I don't think this op should get all the blame. If you cry and emotionally manipulate someone into not breaking up with you, even though you know that's what they want to do, getting cheated on can't be that huge a shock. Come on. No. Make no mistake, I definitely was in the wrong here. I appreciate the sentiment, but I can tell you he wasn't trying to manipulate me. He was just a crier, and I was a chicken shit with no spine and an aversion to crying people. I was going through depression and I knew she was toxic for me. I did try to break up with her many times, but my fear of being alone kept our relationship going. Finally I had it enough. I was so much into pain that I told another girl how I'm feeling. She understood me, she supported me, and she helped me a lot. I know what I did was terrible, and I should have broken up with my then GF before getting involved with another girl, but I was a sad coward looking for some guilty pleasure of supportive partner. HMM. I don't know about that, pal. I think you're fine. I think you're definitely overanalyzing it in my honest opinion. To be fair and super blunt, you didn't sleep with the girl, as far as we know, and from where you say your state of mind was at the time, you sound like you were just unconsciously looking for some attention from another female because, well, it is the closing chapter of your relationship. It happens to all of us. I don't think you cheated, but best wishes. It was wrong. I knew it. But the brownie was looking at me, and I mean, if I start the diet with them today it doesn't mean I start the diet this moment. She just didn't like me for me. She was a fake nice girl. Yeah, they exist. We ended the relationship. Found out we both cheated on each other. No hard feelings. Are you my ex? I might be. Are you that girl that used to pick her nose in the library and every time we looked at you, you just smiled and poked out your tongue trying to look cute or something lol cause that's my ex haha. No, but that's hilarious. I was in college and she was emotionally manipulative and more or less guilted me into being her boyfriend. She treated me like garbage. Like when we went out with other people she'd tell everyone in front of me who she wanted to be her next boyfriend. I really wasn't happy, but I had to lower the self-esteem at the time to speak up. One night at a bar, without her there, a girl came onto me strong, and I went with it. It was almost a sigh of relief when I woke up the next morning, when I realized I had a reason to break it off. 31/F, but cheating happened a few years ago. I guess I was so unhappy and felt so unloved/disliked, which I had good reason to. I did get treated poorly, that's not up for debate, that I felt like I didn't have much to lose. Because I was financially dependent on him, I didn't think I could just walk out. The combination of feeling trapped with someone that you get nothing but disdain from and criticism caused me to make a bad choice. Maybe out of desperation or to feel something other than judgment and hurt. Like trying to escape from the real world even for a little, while by selfishly doing what only feels good to me in the moment. I only ever heard negative and hurtful things said to me and about me for so long by my husband, that I guess subconsciously I was trying to prove to myself that I really wasn't all those crappy things my husband said I was on a regular basis. Someone else cared about me and liked me for who I was. They enjoyed my sense of humor and didn't get mad at me for not being perfect. I can't be all those mean things if this other person loves me and tells me good things and works with me right. In the end though, turns out I'm kinda crappy for my bad choices. Although order of events does matter I think sometimes. Back when I was a young man, 20 or 21, I cheated on a girl I really loved. I just wound up in a house alone with another girl I didn't even know. A complete stranger. There was no thinking or reason behind it. The instant I was through I felt horrible. I was filled with regret, but I couldn't take it back. I never told my girlfriend, but I vowed to myself I would never again cheat on a girl I was involved with, and these many years later I never have. The girlfriend and I broke up decades ago, but I still feel bad about it. You should contact your ex and tell her this. She deserves to know. Also, you might feel better after the confession. Don't tell her. If the relationship is over, there is no point. He would end up just hurting her. I got emotionally invested in another person before I clearly realized I no longer wanted to be in a relationship. However, it didn't stop me from cheating. Immediately after the deed, I ended the relationship. This has happened twice. I've grown, but I'm still learning about myself. Damn. Happy Cake Day BTW. Thank you. Stupidity and alcohol. I told her what happened and fully expected her to break up with me. 4 years later, we are married. I tell her everything now. Full disclosure and trust. Her and I were kind of forced into a relationship by our friends, even after we had met for an hour. But we would text a lot and spend a lot of time at school. I had felt uncomfortable most of the time, and I just wasn't feeling any spark at all. I was way too scared to say anything to her, since I'm not too good with feelings and would get scared about it constantly. Then I met this guy, and him and I would send out of rated R type of stuff for a couple of days. And then I broke up with her and went to him. It's been a couple of months since that, and I honestly feel bad about it. Neither of them know the truth. I've only told a friend about it, and he also said that that was an asshole thing to do. I've acknowledged that I was a huge ass for not telling the truth in the first place, but I honestly can't fix it, even though I really want to. He did it first. I was shitty and young, and also he did it first. I was unhappy with my life and full of problems, but I didn't break up because I was comfortable in the relationship. One day I drank too much with college friends and then the mistake happened. I told her everything right after and the end. Now I realize that it was the worst time for me to be in a relationship and I was too unstable to yell. Doctor, it was a shitty time and I was a shitty person. My boyfriend at the time couldn't make me come for years, and every time we had sex it was just bad. And I communicated with him several times about what I wanted and how he could improve, and he just didn't follow through. So basically I just wanted to nut. Yeah, I was horrible. This was when I was a teenager. I was insecure and handling my own anxieties very poorly. My ex was great, and I still miss her to this day despite us working through my initial cheating. But the girl I cheated on her with paid attention to me in ways my ex did not. And she had a playful wit and expressive emotion to her that was sorely lacking in my relationship at the time. It started out as fun flirting that I never intended to go further with, and then I found myself drunk and alone with her at a bar at night. I knew I was in a danger zone, but I had wanted to grab drinks. One thing led to another, and come the next morning, I hated myself. And I realized that, even if my ex worked through my infidelity, I'd always hate myself. Ultimately, I planted the seed of thought in my head that I was deserving of payback. And it made me very paranoid of who was texting my ex, what guys she was friends with. She was always unconsciously flirty to a degree. My anxiety amped this up to 10, and I became a very controlling asshole to the point of snooping through her phone. I definitely still hate myself for it, but I'm also not sure our lifestyles were compatible. She was a flight attendant, so the long stretches without her were really hard if we weren't in communication. And that Berger just looked too damn good to wait for cheat day. Vengeance. I was young, dumb and immature. I'm torn on whether or not to consider this cheating, but here goes. In general I was a much worse person at that age and I've put more than a decade's worth of work into unlearning awful behaviors. I was 18 and dating a man 4 years my senior. We started dating when I was 14. Spoilers, not really. It was emotionally and sexually abusive. I realized I wanted out a few months after starting university. He didn't want to be hasty and throw away such a long relationship. I now know that you don't have to convince a person to let you dump them. But I had no idea WTF I was doing at that age. We compromised to pause for a week and decide at the end. I ended up having sex with an age-appropriate friend on the final day of that week. I told him as a justification for why we were actually breaking up. Obviously he was pissed. but he did accept we were broken up. Honestly, much of my teens and early 20s make me cringe now. Such a waste. Trauma is fun. My dad cheated on my mom because she constantly accused him of doing it when he wasn't. So he ended up just doing it, I guess because he was tired of hearing it all of the time. She found out and set her up with someone because he felt bad and he wanted her to get back at him. Some of these details might not be accurate because I heard this from my sister, but that's what I know about it for the most part. I was in a polyamorous relationship, and every time we had a 3+ way he would ruin it for everyone cause it was never going as right for him as it was others. If I didn't give him attention almost all the time during he broke down. Hell, if I watch him get laid he loved it, but when I was the one getting the third party attention he would have the look on his face like the world was ending. Anyways, as time went on the spark died long before we broke up. A series of mistrust and unenjoyable times I just wanted to die. I couldn't kick him out cause of all the manipulation. Like I was all that kept him alive and more. He never used his checks to fix his car, phone plan, help with gas for me to drive him, etc. I tried to push him to get self-stable, just so I could kick him out guilt-free, and he kept himself in that position, cause he knew I was too caught in the guilt trip to even let it happen. Anyways, come time around Christmas I cheated on him with a coworker. We both stayed late and just talked a lot. Might have shared this before, but eventually I started abusing Xanax cause my partner was trying to make me monogamous with him, and that I was all he needed around the same time that I kept feeling like I was being suffocated and trapped in a bad situation. I stayed at a coworker's house one night, cried a lot, and then blacked out in her arms from the headaches the pills gave me. My BF was wondering what was up and that he needed a night with me, but in my head that meant miserable company followed by sad sex. He always wanted me and ignored me when I said I didn't enjoy sex by saying some outlandish thing then denying that I was just in my head. Blah blah. Anyways, the following 2 nights of Xanax abuse I kept going to that co-worker's house, and on the 3rd night I felt a release in my head. Like something stopped hurting, and that some angel was healing wounds I never knew I had. I cheated the following morning when I woke up to that girl, and she woke up and started smiling at me like, this feels right. She had never been with another girl before but always had some thoughts that weren't straight. I tried to crawl over her to get out of bed, and she put her hands on my waist, looked into my eyes, and I just went in for a kiss. It was like magnetic pull to her, I couldn't resist. And when I felt her lips it was the most right feeling in the world. I had never felt that kind of enjoyment from a single kiss, and we promised to pick it back up again after I was single. Stayed with my BF another week before he read my texts between her about it all and proceeded to scream at me at the highest possible volume he could about my infidelity and not a real polyamorous person or some shit at 4 AM. So my stepdad helped me fix his car and sent him back home like 3 hours away. Haven't once regretted my decision, and I plan on marrying this girl. I'm sure I've mentioned it before on another Reddit story, but here we go. Cheated because I needed an escape. I thought we were on a break, and I got drunk. Using drugs and being a selfish person. Cheated on both my baby mamas, and lost them both. I've been in 6 relationships from high school to now, and all of them I cheated because I have never loved any of them. I did have feelings for them before I dated them, but once they returned the feelings mine disappeared. I felt trapped being with them and loved the feeling of being with someone but having no commitment to them. Growing up my mom went through so many ducked up relationships. I'm just scared to get attached because of what they might do or if they take advantage of me. I feel like shit because they saw a life with me and I saw sex. I do want a family and kids, but I can never see how someone can love someone for so long. They are all beautiful women who are dear to me, but I still feel like I owe it to them for what I did. Just found out my wife was cheating again tonight. After going through her iPhone, sleeping in my car, leave for the Navy in a month. Damn man, that's duckin' rough. Found out she was cheating. Said duck it, then downloaded Tinder. Messed around myself for a while before eventually just breaking it off with her. Good times. This is cheating, but I feel absolutely no remorse about it now because I was young and he was an abusive asshole. I cheated on a boyfriend in high school because when I attempted to leave him he'd threatened to kill himself. And I know. Fear always'll talk, but mans would come in to school and show me the new cuts on his thighs before first period. So yeah, I cheated and he still doesn't know. But 3 years later he lives. I live and has dating someone underage. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.